This is a good example. This is a good example to show the importance of the location in our day-to-day lives. Here taken from the site, this is collection of signs in Ballywhagan, County Clare, Ireland. It gives visitors and locals information the relative location of many different spots of interest by using the signboards. You can see where the place is located, the direction is there, and the distance is also there. So this is a nice example how the location factor is very important even in our day-to-day activities. That is why the absolute location and the relative location is very important as a theme of geography. Location means position on the Earth's surface. So you can give an answer these questions by looking at your places. What are the latitude and longitude coordinates of your absolute location right now? By using your smartphone, you can find the absolute location of the place where you are now staying. What is your relative location and the relationship of your location to other locations? How you can explain your village, your location? Now you are staying with the relation of other locations. How far from your location to the nearest city? Are you interested to go the nearest city or the other city for buying clothes? What is your perception on the relative location? How does the importance of your location change over time? That is also very important. Sometimes the importance of your location has been diminished because of several reasons. Sometimes it has become a very, very valuable location because of many reasons. For example, if you were living in a place where the region is very remote area and very limited access to the other places, now you have a highway. So the location, the importance of the location change over time. Think the places along the southern highway. How some places has become more popular. The price of the land has been increased because of the importance of the location change. So many things you can think. So many things. That helps us to understand this concept very clearly. If you think practically, if you think with the living answers, living examples. Right. Next, place. Place is a place. The concept of place is playing a vital role in geography subject. Without the concept of place, we don't have the geography. We can't explain the human interaction between environment. Man and environment relationship cannot be explained without the concept of place. The place has very different meaning. Place has very different meaning. we could say physical place. When we consider the physical features of a place, our interest may be with the physical place means the mountain region or the mountainous place, hilly place, something like that. And sometimes the place has a very social value. Socially, the place has the importance. Culturally, or sometimes the place is not appeared as it is on the earth surface, but in our mind, cognitive place. For example, if I ask, where would you like stay most probably? What is the place you prefer to live? This is the place you prefer to. Even in the house, there may be another particular place to stay for a long time. This preference depends on the location, place, and point of interest, according to this figure. We try to find the better location for our residence. If you need to buy a plot of land, every time you try to buy a nice land by considering the place, location, and point of interest. So, place has a broad meaning. Place has a very broad meaning. Very broad meaning. For example, the physical characteristics of a place make up its natural environment and are derived from geological, hydrological, atmospheric, and biological processes. If you talk about a waterfall as an interesting place, it's depend on geological and hydrological reasons, factors. If you are talking about the cold environment place, it is almost atmospheric one. If you talk about the Sinharaja rainforest as a very interesting place, it is a biological factors. It's comes from biological. They include landforms, bodies of water, climate, soils, natural vegetation, and animal life, so and so forth. You like go to the Yala because of to see the animals. The human, on the other hand, the place has human characteristics as well. We very much like to go and worship Bodh Gaya, where Buddha was enlightened. That is a very holy place for Buddhists. More Catholics would like to go and stay in Jerusalem or Vatican. Muslims would like to go Mecca. Why? The human characteristics of a place is important. They include bridges of houses and parks and so forth. Human characteristics of place also include land use, like tea plantation or the paddy cultivation, density of population, language patterns. There are interesting language patterns. Even in Sri Lanka, when you come to the India, very different languages used in different states. Religion, architecture, political systems create the identity of a place. Therefore, the theme of place helps flesh out information about location. Taken together, the themes of location and place provide a basis for observation in geography. These themes can be used to help answer the first two questions of geography. Where is it and why is it there? The place gives us answers. With a sense of physical and human place, we can read the landscape around us and make observation about what we see. Remember that. We'll explore more about physical and human places when we look at the theme of region. When we look at the theme of region, we explore more about physical and human places. So, try to find the answers for these questions. How would you describe where you live physically? How you can explain your place physically? Is your place flat, or it is a plain or floodplain, hilly, hot or cold or wet or dry? How you can explain? What natural resources are found there? Are you staying near a forest or the bush or the river? What? You can describe your place physically. And also you can describe your place with human characteristics. For example, what types of houses are there? Are patterns of land use different from those in other parts of the country? What types of industry are found and how might they be different from industry in other parts of the country? Like this. Human place, physical place, or the social, or the cognitive, cultural place. That's very important. When you look at the locational models, it says the relationship between location and places. If you need to build an industrial zone, we should consider different factors. How we can find a better location for an industrial zone. So there are different models also. These models based on the location and the place. When you look at this scenery, what you can see? This is a good picture, a photograph to think about the value of place. By looking at this, we can say this is a physical place. Yes, this is a physical place because the physical features are dominated. Physical features dominated in this region. But when you closely look at the castle here built has a very, very important social and cultural value. May have very powerful people living. Therefore, social place, cultural place, the concept of social place and the cultural place also visible, evident here. And sometimes the cognitive. If some people are not there, if the people who lived there are now living in another place, they have a cognitive idea of this place. So, by looking at everywhere, you can see this concept. Either physical or the social or cultural or mental place concept is evident. This is the combination of physical place and the cultural place. It's similar one, right? However, place is very important. Sometimes place maybe move with you. Some people would like to go in front of the ship while others in the middle, while others on the top. It's depend on the place of interest. Right, now the region. I'm not going to explain much more about the theme of region because you have already known all the concept of region because you followed the course unit called regional geography. In regional geography, we define the region from different perspectives. Region means an area with similar characteristics. The homogeneity is the basic principle of demarcating a region. By looking at the similar cultural or physical features, we can identify the region. Region is very important. So there are so many regional concepts as well, regional interactions we discussed. Therefore, region is very, very important concept. A region is a basic unit of geographic study. That is why we have the subject regional geography. It is defined as an area that has unifying characteristics. The study of regions helps us answer these questions. How and why is one area similar to another? How do the areas differ? Most regions differ significantly from adjoining areas. Why is it? Some regions are distinguished by physical characteristics. Physical characteristics include landforms, climate, soil, and natural vegetation. For example, the peaks and valleys of the Rocky Mountains or the Piduru-Talagala region or the Samanal region from a physical region. Some regions are distinguished by human characteristics. These may include economic, social, political, and cultural characteristics. Dambana, based on the cultural characteristics, we could see as a separate region in Sri Lanka. The highly urbanized Northeast corridor between Boston and Washington, Wash corridor, you know that it is a region based on human characteristics. Other regions are combinations of physical and human character. For example, the South Scandinavia and the Midwest, something like that. Boundaries between regions can be vague. We discussed in depth the boundary of regions last year under the course unit of regional geography. Regions are generally thought of as large areas, such as the Corn Belt in the Midwestern United States or Sub-Saharan Africa. We discussed how region can be explained as a belt, as a triangle, or the crescent. Overhead transparencies will help the teacher demonstrate that a region can be as small as classroom learning center, a neighborhood, an industrial park, or the recreational area as well. So please try to think about these questions. How many different regions can you identify within your area? For example, if you take your AG division, you may see there are so many different regions. For example, this region may be mountainous one. Sometimes this region may be the very flat floodplain. So the paddy cultivations are available there, and settlements are spread over there. Sometimes you may have the natural vegetation like forest. So there are so many regions in your area. How many different regions can you identify? How many larger regions does your area belong to? So when you ask these questions by yourself, and when you look at these reality with the experience of your experience, so it is very easy to understand the concept of regions. The last one, movement. Movement can be considered as another important theme of geography. Why? Either physical or the human world does not exist. It goes forward with the tide. Movement is everywhere. People, goods, ideas are moving place to place. Movement and interaction of people is very important in this regard. Immigrant populations have impact on native populations because of the people movement. Brain drain is too many people leave an area suffering the issue of brain drain has become a serious problem in developing countries because the developed countries absorbed by that valuable persons. Movement can be explained like this. First of all, we can explain the movement with as I told, with three things. We could see the people are moving, human movement. If you have a serious war region like Middle East, Syria or the Iraq, people are moving from Iraq or the Syria largely as a crowded mass movement of people from that conflict area to the safer areas. They use different modes, train, trucks, planes, ships, boats. And also information movement is also very important. Because of the information movement, we can see the different spatial changes over the time. Because of the COVID-19, the information movement is increasing a greater degree because of phones, computer, mails, internet, and the idea movement through the TV or the radio or the magazines and the books, journals, the ideas come and go and out. The ideas movement. Therefore, the movement means population movement, information movement, idea movement. The theme movement addresses the question, how and why are places connected with one another? How humans interacting on the earth, that is the meaning of movement. So it is very important. The geography focuses this theme. Relationship between people in different places are shaped by the constant movement of people, ideas, materials, and physical systems such as wind. Our world is in constant motion, constantly changing. Therefore, movement concept is very important. Like blood flowing through our bodies, movement brings life to a place. People are moving. Now, because of the COVID-19, the physical movement of the people have almost stopped. But information movement and idea movement are very, very important today's world even. So you can ask yourself, what examples of movement of people, goods or ideas do you see in your area? For example, how people move from your place to another. As an example, where I am right now living, people, most of the single people trying to permanently migrate into the other regions like Panathuran for seeking better education and other facilities. That is one thing. Sometimes some people moving daily commuting happen. And some ideas also come through the different modes. How has migration had an impact on your area? So what has happened? For example, if we are living in a tourist area, the area can be impacted by that tourist movement. What are the transportation routes your area that helps to these goods and other population movements? Yeah, I like this. This is very important. You know, even though the movement we discussed, even in the physical world, here when you see this, when you see this, you can see the different type of mass movement. Rockfall, landslide, mudslide, slumping. This is also the movement. So, however, the movement is very important concept. In your handout, there is a place, there is a small space to write an answer to the question. What is the question? How can you explain this photograph with the 5 themes in geography? What are the 5 themes? Interaction, location, place, region, movement. For example, how you can explain the interaction, the concept of interaction by looking at this picture? You can see that the people and environment are are very important interactions here. This looks like an ornamental park, ground, where people very much like to spend their leisure time. So this environment attracts the people. The environment provides the calm and quiet background to read and spend the leisure time for people. And on the other hand, the pigeons have daily come, it seems, because people throw the foods. Because of the foods, pigeons come. Because of the pigeon comes, people throwing foods, interaction. And this looks like a physical place as well as the social place. This may be a moderate temperature region in the north or south pole of the world. This may be summer season. This may be the place where people like to stay every day. For example, the man sitting near this tree and reading newspaper maybe come every day and sit in the same place. That is the place of interest. So explain, and movement can be also explained. People are coming here from different places. This may be daily commuting pattern. And pigeons also flying daily here in this season. That is also a movement. So like this. Remember this type of questions you may have in your question paper. How you would explain with the 5 themes? Practice, please practice. Can you see something important, something special with that 5 themes? Right? Explaining. A set of 18 learning standards has been created by the National Council for Geographic Education for the science of geography, which are called the National Geography Standards. These 18 standards are separated into 6 essential elements. If you do practice any geographic inquiry or the study, you can explain any phenomenon from geographical perspective by using these 6 essential elements. Physical systems, the physical action that create the patterns of Earth's surface, the features and spatial distribution of ecosystems on the Earth's surface, that is physical, and places and regions, the material and human attributes of places, that people from regions to decode Earth's complexity, how culture and experience influence people's understanding of places and regions. The third one, the world in spatial terms, how to use maps and other geographic tools and techniques to obtain, process, and describe information from a spatial viewpoint. How to use mental maps to organize data about people, places, and environments in a spatial context. How to study the spatial arrangement of people, places, and environments on Earth's surface. Those are under the world in spatial terms. The other is human system. We also should consider the human systems as well. The features, dispersion and migration of human population on Earth's surface. The features, dispersion and the intricacy of Earth's cultural mosaics. The patterns and networks of economic interdependence on the Earth's surface. The process, patterns, and functions of human settlement. How the forces of cooperation and conflict among people influence the division and control of Earth's surface. These themes under the human systems can be considered. The use of geography is also very important. That is related very much in the context of applied geography. This is very important. How to apply geography to interpret the past? How to apply geography to interpret the present and plan for the future? How to apply the geography to solve the questions, spatial and environmental issues? And also environment and society is another theme. How human actions change the physical environment, how physical systems affect human systems, and the changes that occur in the meaning, use, distribution, and importance of resources. These are these 18 standards created by National Council for Geographic Education. Actually, the concept of space in geography can be explained in different perspectives. Sometimes it can be explained as a socio-economic space, sometimes mathematical, sometimes behavioral, sometimes temporal, sometimes physical space, like physical place, like socio-economic place, we could understand. Therefore, we try to analyze the spatial things on the Earth's surface. We can explain the spatial process. For example, if we talk about the migration, that is about the spatial process. If we talk about the soil erosion, it is under the spatial process and spatial distribution and the spatial pattern. How spatial process begins. Even though we can see the real system, the spatial process is there. Therefore, we can create the spatial model of system. The spatial process modeling we call. So this is good example. The process may be the cycling one, like carbon cycle. Sometimes the process may be the linear one, like population movement, population migration. Sometimes sometimes spatial and temporal distribution can be identified according to the time period. For example, when we consider the tropical cyclone in the world, August and October, you can see here the tropical cyclone like in Caribbean region. Here. But when you come to the June and October, you can see the Pacific region. Right? It is called typhoon. Sometimes in the Indian Ocean and the surrounding region in August, June, November, and January and March in this region. So time and spatiality of any phenomenon can be explained from geographic perspective. The distribution of poverty level, Sri Lanka, that is spatial distribution. Because of the spatial process, you can see the spatial distribution, and as a result, you can understand the spatial pattern, whether it is a regular or the random or the cluster pattern. By looking at the cities distribution in the United States, you can see the low density area and the high density area. By looking at the average annual rainfall in Sri Lanka from 1961 to 1990, you can see the main high average rainfall is concentrated in the very small little area like here, whatever another region. But they have very limited, right? This is the way we can explain the phenomenon pattern. Therefore, there are so many theories, because there are so many theories to explain the spatial distribution, spatial pattern. Diffusion theory and the interaction. For example, when you come to the diffusion theory, we can identify the three important, four stages. Sometimes some phenomenon may expand within that context. That is called expansion diffusion. At the beginning here, a small industries. It has expanded, and then it has expanded over the time. For example, if you consider the spare part selling places in the Vijayarama Junction, in 1970s, they were a small region, but it has spread. When you come to the Navala region, the ceramic selling places also the same. But sometimes some place, because of the geographic disturbances, some places relocated. This is called the relocated diffusion. Not here, but another places are developed. And sometimes continuous, it is spreading continuously along the road. Sometimes the hierarchy, the big one is there, the small one is there, like the polar circuit in Sri Lanka. So however, the diffusion, spatial distribution can be explained with the diffusion theory with these four stages. As well. Okay, this is the second assignment that need to be submitted as the one part of continuous assessment in this course unit. So the theme of this assignment is to explain how the relationship between man and environment is smashed because of extreme application of possibilism. You have to write an article on the theme of the manner in which the relationship between man and environment has been smashed because of the extreme application of possibilism. You know what is extreme application of possibilism. Possibilism means man try to modify the environment by using different techniques and strategies. Over the time, with the blessings of technological advancement, human attempted to overcome different obstacles of the nature. When they need to produce more foods, when they need to expand more facilities, they try to misuse their capability over natural world, natural resources, over the nature. Yes, you are capable to solve your day-to-day problems by applying different techniques over the natural environment. But what happened over the time, people exploited natural resources for their personal needs. Because of that exploitation, because of that extreme application of possibilism, nowadays we face different hazards. For example, without considering the environmental rules and regulations, some countries try to build huge dams crossing the rivers. For example, Cambodia, it has been added some links to see very interesting stories about the disasters because of the huge reservoir dams. However, for example, you know, Umaoy multipurpose development project. They built the longest tunnel in Sri Lanka, connecting two different river valleys. But unexpected adverse impacts arised. Houses damaged, wells dried up, lot of people displaced, something like that. Why? Because of the extreme application of possibilism. So, citing that type of hazards, you have to consider 10 human structures built by using the extreme application of possibilism from the world. Then you have to explain the manner in which the relationship between man and environment has been smashed because of that application. This is a small article about 5 to 8 A4 type pages, or you can write by hand with A4 sheets 10 to 12 pages. This should be submitted 22nd May 2020 or no before 22nd May 2021 through the same email in PDF format. So I suggest your article on this theme maybe with these 3 parts. First, you can introduce the extreme approach of possibilism. What is the meaning of possibilism? What is the meaning of extreme application of possibilism? How people exploit the nature by using their possibilities. And then you have to select the 10 human structures which have been built by using the above approach and citing the hazards occurred because of that structures, and you can explain the way in which the man-environment relations has been damaged. For instance, Cambodia recently has built many reservoirs. Because of excluding environmental regulations, some dams damaged, broken. There are nice stories. So I have added a link to see that stories. So you can refer that link through the LMS. So expecting to explain how this important man-environment relationship has been damaged because of this extreme application of possibilism. And now finally you can conclude. What do you think about, by considering these 10 cases, what do you think about the extreme application of possibilism? What happened in the future? What is your suggestions? Those should be in conclusion. That is the way you have to produce this assignment.